So it actually turns out that getting a CCW permit in Santa Clara County is actually very simple. Let's talk about why. I really want to say thank you to everyone that supports this channel, but I want to specifically shout out a couple of my Patreon members, Ron, Daryl, Nut in My Pantsy, Thickcock45, and Larry Thickers. You guys rock. I'm very thankful to have you guys on board, and I appreciate the support. Let's get into the video. We all know in the state of California that in order to get a CCW permit, it's based on your county sheriff, and some counties are much more likely to issue a permit. Based on the most recent map, we can see that many counties actually are very simple to get a CCW permit. Some of them are not at all, and that unfortunately ties into the fact that about 40% of the state population lies in LA, Santa Clara, Marin, San Francisco, and all these other counties that are red. And what that means is that they're very difficult to prove your good cause to get a CCW permit. So Santa Clara County has typically been known as a county that was very difficult to get it, but it turns out the easiest way to get a CCW permit in Santa Clara County is by simply donating $5,000 to $45,000 to Sheriff Laurie Smith's campaign. This is something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, but I kept getting pushed back. But Laurie Smith is by far the most corrupt sheriff I have ever seen. Now, I've ragged on Alex Villanueva many times on this channel, and I have talked about how he is incompetent, and I don't think that he's a good sheriff. But Sheriff Laurie Smith is the only one that I know of that has strong evidence suggesting the fact that the easiest way to get a concealed carry permit in the state of California is by donating to her re-election fund. So the reason I'm actually talking about this today was because an article and a video by NBC Bay Area. So here's the title: Donors to Sheriff's Political Campaigns Far More Likely to Get Concealed Gun Permits. And now you might think, okay, well, that's obvious, right? You know, anyone that personally knows the sheriff on a very first name basis, they're probably going to be very easy to get. Now that's fine, but the problem is that people that are normal, it's almost impossible to get them. And now let's scroll down to the bottom here to see this stat. Outcomes of concealed carry applications in Santa Clara County. Now, here's people that donated, and 79% of them were approved. 21% were denied. Now, here's people that did not donate to a re-election fund. 94% were denied, and 6% were approved. That's pretty ridiculous right there. There is no way to argue the fact that having donated large amounts of money to Sheriff Laurie Smith increases your odds of getting a CCW permit. Now, when we also consider that through this article, so here in this article, it also says the non-donor approval rate plummets even further for applicants who most would consider average citizens. Among the 40 non-donors to be granted concealed gun permits between 2014 and 2018 are 3 judges, 2 current members of the San Jose Sharks hockey team, at least 1 employee of the sheriff's office, and 5 people who appear to be Santa Clara County Reserve deputies. So what is that? 3, 5, 6... 11. So 11 out of the 40 people that did not donate were people who are of influential or higher status than the average person. This is pretty damn ridiculous. There was one person who said that they got a permit that remained anonymous, which is odd to me. One person remained anonymous and said that Sheriff Laurie Smith demanded that they don't donate to her fund. And now that seems like something that at first it's like, okay, yeah, hey, she said, hey, do not donate to my fund. I'm going to give you your CCW, but absolutely do not donate to the fund because I don't want it to look bad. Now, why would that be something that matters? Well, for the average person, you might say, hey, no, that's totally reasonable. She does not want there to be any confusion about the boundaries that she's setting. But the problem is, I think that the reason that she is asking them to do that is so that it doesn't add any more fire to this investigation that's been going on for years. This article actually did a very good job of staying unbiased and factual, and I really do appreciate that. I really want to say thank you to Stephen Stock and Michael Bott, Josh Slow, Sean Myers, and Jeremy Carroll, because that's who it says this article is and video is by, because they did an excellent job. I'm going to actually link that down below in the comments so that you could watch their own video, and I'm going to link to this article as well. This is something that many of us have known for a while. There was a private security firm that donated $45,000 to Sheriff Laurie's campaign, and they were able to get, I think, 4 or 5 permits, 1 for the owner and 4 for the other people that were in the executive protection firm. That is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that the only way to feasibly get a concealed carry permit is by being, 1, very rich, and 2, choosing to donate to her re-election fund, absolutely ridiculous. If you live in Santa Clara County, I want you to, here's the takeaway from this. If you live in Santa Clara County, or if you know people that live in Santa Clara County, when Sheriff Laurie Smith is up for re-election, get her out of there. Vote for literally anyone else. I don't care who you vote for. I'm not going to tell you who the best choice is because I don't know who the best choice is. I'm going to tell you this, though. Anything is better than someone that is accepting donations in exchange for your rights. They are holding your rights hostage and forcing you to either donate exorbitant amounts of money or break the law by unlawfully carrying a firearm. Now, if you're wealthy, and if you do like Laurie for other reasons, that's not that big of a deal, to be honest. However, people that do not have that kind of disposable income, some people donated around $5,000 and were able to get a permit. That is ridiculous. I don't know why she has such a vendetta against poor people. People who are less wealthy are more likely to be injured in violent crimes, and now you're putting them in a situation where they're more likely to be victimized. They don't have the ability to follow the law as far as the state is concerned, and you're forcing them to break the law, creating more criminals. So if these sheriffs and these people actually gave a shit about impoverished communities and the people that they are supposed to be working for, wouldn't they be giving these permits out to the people that really need them? Kind of ridiculous, right?
Tonight, we investigate gun permits. Who is getting them and why? Did the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office issue concealed gun permits in exchange for donations?
And donations specifically to Sheriff Laurie Smith's campaign. Senior investigative reporter Stephen Stock digs into the data to see if there is evidence that a donation improves your chances of getting a coveted permit.
We analyzed 5 years' worth of data on campaign contributions and concealed gun permits here in Santa Clara County.
I have to pause real quick. This man's voice, absolutely beautiful. Thank you for having the voice that you do.
The numbers suggest that donors to Sheriff Laurie Smith's campaigns were about 14 times more likely to get a concealed weapons permit than those who did not contribute.
This rifle is about 50 years old. That rifle is about 5 years old.
Mark Hinkle has been collecting guns for decades.
And I think everybody realizes is ubiquitous shotgun.
The businessman and former chair of the National Libertarian Party lives in a remote area of Santa Clara County at the end of a 2-mile dirt road. Hinkle says owning a firearm gives him and his family peace of mind.
If I want to call the sheriff's department, it's at least 10 to 15 minutes before anybody's going to show up.
The small business owner often carries cash and worries about being robbed.
Great for target practice.
To protect himself away from his property, Hinkle says he wants a concealed gun permit. But in Santa Clara County, like most of the Bay Area, those permits are hard to come by. So Hinkle says he began asking sheriff's deputies what it would take to get one.
Every one of them said, well, if you make a substantial contribution to Sheriff Smith's re-election campaign, you'll improve your chances. And of course, I don't want to do that.
We spoke to a half-dozen other gun owners.
He said that he heard that firsthand from sheriff's deputies. If her own employees are going out and saying those things about her, might be true, right?
Santa Clara County, including a sheriff's deputy, who all tell the investigative unit they've heard the same thing. It's almost an open secret, they say.
And apparently the sheriff herself, now the target of a possible corruption investigation.
Last August, those allegations became the center of an ongoing criminal probe involving sheriff's office personnel. The Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office served warrants at the Sheriff's Department and other locations, part of an effort to find out if concealed gun permits were doled out in exchange for donations to Sheriff Laurie Smith's campaigns.
The investigation's continuing, and I'd rather not speculate where the investigation is at this time.
Though 10 months have passed, the sheriff and DA's offices remain tight-lipped about the case. But our own analysis found that donors to Smith's campaign do have a much higher success rate in obtaining a concealed gun permit. According to sheriff's records we obtained, 749 Santa Clara County residents applied for a new permit between 2014 and 2018. Most applicants were not campaign contributors, and for those non-donors, about 5.5% were approved for permits. Then there were the 28 people who did donate to Sheriff Laurie Smith's campaigns, either in their own name or indirectly, a handful from an applicant's company or through an immediate family member contributing to the sheriff. Their success rate in landing a concealed weapons permit, 79%.
5% versus 79%. I think that says all we need to say, right?
To me, that's corruption, and I'm not going to participate in corruption of government officials.
Despite those numbers, not everyone is convinced that the DA's investigation will show that Sheriff Smith did anything wrong.
I've never made any donations whatsoever to the Sheriff's Department, the Sheriff's campaign, any PAC associated with the Sheriff at any time.
This local man agreed to speak if we did not reveal his identity. He runs a security business and has a concealed carry permit going back to the 1980s. But after moving, he had to apply for a new permit with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office in 2015, which was granted. When he went back to pick up a copy of his permit, he says he happened to run into Sheriff Smith, whom he previously met at a volunteer event.
And she said, look, it's very important that you never under any circumstances make a donation to my campaign. I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm giving a concealed weapons license because someone's making a donation.
This business owner does concede that the numbers look bad for the department, but he said if there's any wrongdoing, he doesn't believe that Sheriff Smith was directly involved.
That dude has drank the Kool-Aid to the fullest. I just really needed to show you guys that video and kind of have a few points to talk about it. The guy who runs a security firm, who has had a concealed carry permit since the 80s, and is a prominent business owner. Yeah, he's one of the few people that might be able to conceal carry permit. Of course he's going to be looking at that with rose-tinted glasses and saying, yeah, I don't think anything's wrong. Oh, that evidence, yeah, that looks pretty bad, but I don't think she's involved with it. Then why are people that are donating directly to her able to get it? You think the lieutenant and whoever underneath her that are not elected officials are involved in this? You think they're the ones that have the business or have the incentive to get her reelected? No, Sheriff Laurie Smith needs to go. When she comes up for election, I need all of you guys to actively try to get her out. If I happen to miss it and I'm not aware the next time she's up for re-election, I want you guys all to reach out to me and inform me so that we can help get the word out about the corruption and the ridiculous practices that Sheriff Laurie Smith is involved in. You guys know the drill though. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.